Good morning. It is Monday, January 11th, and I just want to take a minute and go through our daily agenda for today, either in case you missed class today or if you just need to review what we talked about. You can see our first slide was just a general question to get us started. The main things that we covered today, we got some basic information about synthesis writing, and then we did a little bit of practice with a silly synthesis prompt so that we could get an idea of how this type of writing works. The only thing that was due today is to make sure you have something picked out for your independent reading and to go ahead and start reading that as soon as possible. Remember, if you start reading a book by today and read 20 pages per day just on school days, then you should be at 600 pages by the end of the quarter, at least 600 pages. So make sure you get started on that as soon as possible. The longer you wait, the more you'll have to read towards the end of the quarter. We did good things, and then we talked about synthesis. So you can see here that a synthesis essay is another type of argument. Pretty much everything that we do in this class, all the writing that we do is going to be some form of argument. So some form of writing where you take a position and you have to use evidence to support that position. This type of writing, though, requires you to take information, to take evidence from multiple sources to help support your argument. When you're given a synthesis prompt for this class, you are going to be given a topic. It will include some background information on that topic, and then it will ask you to defend, oppose, or qualify that topic. So depending on what it is, you can either defend it, meaning that your position is going to argue that that particular issue is true. You're going to oppose it, meaning you're going to argue that it's not true, or you're going to go against it in some way. Or you can qualify, meaning that you can kind of say that it goes both ways, but you want to make sure you provide specific information to explain when it could be one thing and when it could be another. And then the synthesis prompt is also going to give you 5 to 7 sources that you can pull your evidence from. And those sources are going to represent positions on both sides of the topic so that you'll have plenty of information to pull from. So essentially that comes down to you are creating a thesis statement. So you're taking a position on the topic that you're given, and then you are using those sources that they give you to pull information to use as evidence to support that position. That is the basics for synthesis writing. In class today, we looked at this sample synthesis prompt, and this is a really silly sample synthesis prompt. This is not something that showed up on the actual AP exam, obviously, but I like using this particular prompt in class because it really helps us practice looking at information carefully and selecting effective evidence. So we looked at this prompt. This has to do with these fictional people, Mark and Carly. They're in a relationship. Based on the evidence from the sources that we look at, we are supposed to come up with a position of how Mark should handle his situation with Carly. So essentially that comes down to, should he stay with her? Should he break up with her? Or maybe should there be some kind of qualification, meaning maybe they should stay together, but only if XYZ happens. So your job today is to look at the evidence from these sources and to decide what your position on this issue would be. We went through in class and we looked at all the sources together and we talked about what they revealed. What we found is that a lot of the sources weren't very clear cut, either for or against. A lot of the sources provided information that you could use for either side of the issue, either for them staying together or them breaking up. So we went through all the sources together. These sources are all listed or linked on the assignment for today as well. So we looked at all of these, we talked about them together. And again, like I said, one of the things that came through is that a lot of these topics that you're going to find for this type of writing, there's not a clear black or white answer. A lot of the information that you see in the sources could really be used for any type of thesis, any type of position. So your job, your assignment for today, after we discussed this in class, was to go on Canvas. You will see Under our Getting Started module, you'll see high school drama synthesis prompt. That's a discussion board. So on that discussion board, you're posting your thesis statement. So after you've looked through all the sources, you identify what is your position on this particular topic. You're going to write that as a thesis statement, and then you're going to tell us the 3 pieces of information from the sources that really help argue your particular position. This doesn't have to be super long, but you want to at least briefly explain how do your pieces of evidence really support your position. So that is what we did for today. If you have any questions about any of that, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you need to see me during office hours today, make sure you send me a message. And then don't forget, of course, that your independent reading, we need to be working on that every day. And every day that you read some pages, make sure you add that to your independent reading log. And if you don't have any questions and don't need to contact me in any way, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.